Voting is a selfless act, and how many Indians turn out for vote? Voting has become an act of patriotism, a step taken in national pride. Seeing my name and my picture on those sheets of paper in an election official's hands connects me, a citizen, instantly and almost magically to the Republic of India. Now, let's discuss for a while. Keep aside the idea that our vote can drive out corruption, and are you sure in development, and the essential spirit behind the voting, which lies at the heart of a democracy. Let me first frame and ask a question: how many Indians turn out for voting? How many Indians do vote? Suppose our Baramulla constituency, which is undergoing voting today, you know and there are more than 17 lakh people who will have to exercise their franchise, who are registered. But out of 7 lakh, what do you think, how many people will vote? Almost 7 lakh or 6 lakh, not more than that. But why? If you are living in Australia, the voting at the state general elections or by elections or referendum is compulsory. There are 30 countries where compulsory voting laws exist. For example, Argentina, Austria, Australia, Belgium, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Egypt, and Dominican Republic, and so many and so forth. There are 30 countries. Take the example of laws in Australia. If you do not vote at the state election or referendum, you may receive an email, text message, via notes, in the mail, seeking an explanation of your apparent failure to vote. The message will be like, please respond to the electronic message or complete the form and return it in the envelope provided. Electors who fail to vote at the state election and do not provide a valid and sufficient reason for such failure will be fined. The penalty for such first-time offenders will be Australian, amount of 20 or 50 USD. If you have previously paid or have been convicted for the first-time offense, you have to pay. And if you do not have a valid or sufficient reason, you have to pay, and you can pay the penalty, and that will end the matter. But in India, we have to understand it differently, and we have to understand why voting is important for our country. The recent initiatives and also the campaign, that was started in 2005, in 2015, of online voting, which is not allowed in the Lok Sabha election. Let us discuss this most important factor of online voting. In 2015 onwards, there was an organization that's called Right to Vote. While I was surfing through the internet, I landed on their website, and I tried to understand, how they reach out to the government officials, bureaucrats of Election Commission of India and the Supreme Court for the right to vote and for online voting campaign. In 2015, this organization started Right to Vote mission to upgrade elections in India to internet-based online voting, where citizens can vote directly from their mobile from anywhere. There'll be no need to travel to vote, and no need to stand in queue. It was to ensure that no voter is denied his right to vote, and enhance the right to vote campaign. Let's first understand globally that, in this world, are there any countries that have online, or that are supporting online system? If you take the example of Estonia's successful implementation of e-voting, including mobile voting, demonstrates the potential for leveraging technology to make voting more accessible and convenient. Countries like India, where the large and dispersed electorates, could benefit from adopting similar systems to widen the ensure of robust security measures to maintain the integrity of the electoral process. There are other countries, if you check, if you go through at Switzerland, some cantons have experimented with online voting for certain referendum and election. Take the example of Canada. Some municipalities have conducted trials of online voting in the local elections. Take the example of United States of America. United States, have used the pilot voting for specific contexts such as for military persons and other voters. Now let's understand this all in context to our country, India. uh, for online voting to happen in India, the Election Commission of India has to take the initiative to Parliament has to vote, and Supreme Court of India has to confirm it. Hence, this question is best answered by Election Commission of India, ECI, Parliament of India, including the Prime Minister of India and the other members of the Parliament and the Supreme Court of India. Till date, there is no straight answer, about this. ECI will say that Parliament has to decide. MPs will say that ECI need to take initiative, and Supreme Court of India, will ask the government and ECI to respond whenever a public interest litigation (PIL) is filed seeking right to vote, online. In absence of the direct answer, the right to vote is trying. We are trying to explain the real reasons, and this organization is trying to understand, make us understand their interaction with the other bureaucrats, NGOs, journalists, and other authorities. If you take Election Commission of India have studied time to time the Election Commission online way, like how the world votes, and has also requested political parties for their opinion on online voting. Only Bharatiya Janata Party has supported the idea of online voting till date. Most other parties have either opposed the idea or had not given their opinion. Well, the question, why do political parties, oppose online voting? It is standard practice of politicians to blame the system for the election loss. Politicians blame that the EVM machinery for election manipulation is being done by the power, by the government, the power. uh, and this is endured on paper, printing and the manual way of conducting the elections. Why opposition parties do not support of online voting? They have taken the stand election against EVMs, electronic voting machine, that is, it can be hacked, which is totally unjustifiable, which is totally wrong. ECI has given justification that EVMs are not connected to internet and hence it cannot be hacked. Now, if they support online voting, it would sound contradictory. Hence, they want to go back to the primitive methods where no electronic, or internet is used. Uh, Number second, most of the politicians are not well educated, especially when it comes to technology. Every day they're using internet on mobile phones and WhatsApp. All their confidential communication they are doing, but still they fear the internet-enabled technology. It is difficult to make them understand that the stock market, the banking system, and the air traffic control, the power system is almost all critical, and day-to-day infrastructure is connected to internet. Avoiding internet vote means taking India back to the 18th century. They're not able to understand the paper based voting is too human dependent, and such human dependent system can be easily hacked, manipulated just by influencing, bribing, threatening, of the millions of people involved in the election management, booth capturing, ballot box switching, multiple voting is all kind of election hacking manipulation which forced the Election Commission of India to upgrade to EVM. But we have to support, and we have to give huge applause to the Election Commission of India for conducting the elections in our country fairly and transparently. Now the question still is there about the mobile app of voting. Is it possible or not? There are hundreds and thousands of students who are studying outside the country, who are studying outside states, and they are not able to cast their vote to exercise their franchise. So they are denied their right to exercise their franchise. What about them? There are thousands of people who are working abroad and are not able to vote, and they are being denied their right to exercise. Think about them. It's time for our opposition parties, it's time for the government, it's the right time for the Election Commission of India to understand, and they take the pilot projects, like we have seen in Canada, United States of America, and also there is a success story of Estonia. So I'll take this forward within another lecture where we'll discuss it in detail, that which countries are voting in what exercise way. Stay tuned, connect with me. Thank you.